Sorry about that. I've got a little trigger happy there. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing very well. My name is Enrico Stradiotto, 2021 president of OPWA. I was glad to see my tribute slide with the music had played. I had a bit of trouble in our opening session, but certainly that tribute goes towards this great week that we've had here to celebrate National Public Works Week. Good morning. I'm glad to be here, and I'm even more ecstatic to have you join us on this Friday before a long weekend. So I appreciate your interest and support with today. This past week of National Public Works Week has been a great week of celebration, education, and recognition. If it's your first time joining us from this week, well, you missed a great week. But don't worry, technology is on our side, and you'll know that we have all our sessions recorded and they can be viewed at a later time. Just be careful on the long weekend, maybe not to do too much binge watching. If you did spend some time with us this week, I just wanted to say I hope the week was very valuable and worthwhile of your time. And I hope you found something that was interesting and insightful for you. The chapter of OPWA, along with our two regional branches, the Ottawa Valley branch and the West Central branch, want to say thank you for your support and interest in public works. This year's theme for National Public Works Week was Stronger Together. And this sense of theme carried itself over the last few weeks or even months, I guess, leading up to this past week. We saw many examples of that happen as we planned for this week, and we saw that in the past week, many examples of people and organizations across public works in Ontario coming together to present their own examples of Stronger Together. This past week has been a great example of what we can do together in public works. Throughout this week, there's been much talked about in regards to public works. In many examples, we've found, I believe, the answers to some of the questions that I posed at the start of the week, which is, what is public works and who is public works? In this very simplistic representation, I see public works like this. Public works requires skilled and dedicated people, and it also requires well-built and functional public infrastructure. And the one very key component to all of this is the collaboration of all, citizens and public works. And with that, we can deliver service to our communities. I wanted to touch upon a couple items. Since this is National Public Works Week and it is about awareness and education, just a couple components that are key to the role that public works serves in our communities. First of all, public works is a first responder. In times of emergency, public works is there as part of that first response, or they are providing the support that's needed so that other first responders and other essential services can get to the emergency at hand. You know, examples of that would be the cleared roads during the winter so that emergency vehicles can get to the point of destination, the inspection of hydrants to make sure that they're functional so that they can support the efforts of firefighters during a disaster. In 2017, the board of APWA did accept and approve the symbol that we see in the top left as being representative of public works personnel and to acknowledge that they are a first responder. The first responder symbol you can see is representative in color of some of the construction and infrastructure signage and warnings that you would see at any construction site, as you see depicted here in the example of the orange cone. So certainly there is an opportunity here to project this message across the public works communities and organizations in Ontario. The second thing I want to touch upon is public works continues to be and serve on the front lines of every day. There's no better example than the last 14 months where public works, the last 14 months of the pandemic, where public works in our communities have had to go and continue to operate and maintain infrastructure in the face of risk of this pandemic. So this is one very obvious example that maybe sometimes we are taking for granted. So I wanted to highlight that. And so with these two components of public works, I think there's an opportunity here where in the future we can continue to advocate to decision makers and to government in terms of bringing attention to the role that public works serves. So we saw that very same point about the efforts of public works being the front line and working through the pandemic, as was reflected in Premier Ford's remarks. So I thought it's very notable and a very good message that it's worth repeating. So please enjoy.
Good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to bring greetings as you celebrate National Public Works Week. Ontario's public work professionals have been on the front lines throughout the pandemic and continue to play an important role in maintaining municipal infrastructure. Because of your passion, dedication, and hard work, Ontarians and communities across the province have continued to access the vital services they need and rely on. I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for stepping up to keep the community safe and healthy. You're all absolute champions. Thank you and God bless.
Yeah, a message that I would say is spot on. And yes, you truly are champions, public works. In keeping with government recognition, I wanted to also mention and highlight a letter from the Ministry of Labor and Training and Skills Development from Minister McNaughton. And I was just going to read an excerpt here that you see on your screen. Thank you for your service to the people of Ontario. The critical importance of work you provide cannot be overstated. This year, in light of the global pandemic, your work has never been more vital for Ontario's future. And again, once signed again by the Honorable Monty McNaughton. So just a great letter of recognition. And as typical for every National Public Works Week, we do receive proclamations at different times from different municipalities commemorating National Public Works Week and recognizing the many public works professionals that are working for their communities. So we have two examples here that were provided to us. One is from Mapleton, County of Township of Mapleton, sorry, Sam, with a population of, I think, recently 10,000, just over 10,000. And of course, we've also got a proclamation from the big city of Toronto, population of 2.9. So regardless if you're big or small, people do recognize the efforts of public works. So at this time, we want to highlight some of the awards programs in place with the Ontario Public Works Association. So I'm going to ask Adam Latchman, who is the current chair of the OPWA Awards Committee, to come on, and he's going to give us a little more information in respect to National Public Works and Week Awards Program and other programs. Take it away, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Enrico, and hello to everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Friday before a long weekend. What we wanted to communicate is our OPWA Annual Awards Program. And I'm going to quickly go over what the awards that we offer. So every year, the OPWA gives the awards for Projects of the Year. We give individual awards, and we also give National Public Work Weeks awards. The National Public Work Weeks, it's been on hold for the last 2 years, but we hope to start that back up next year. When it comes to Project of the Year awards, we offer them in 6 categories. We go in structures, transportation, environment, historic restoration and preservation, emergency construction and repair, and of course, small municipalities and First Nation communities. What the awards committee looks for when we get these nominations is we look at how the project team demonstrated good use of construction management by means of schedule and project management practices. We look at the safety performance of the overall project. We look at how well the owner, consultant, contractor manage the community relations and delivering the works. We also look at the environmental protection and how well they protected the environment throughout the construction works. We look at accomplishments under unusual conditions, and these are very selective based on the project type. And we also look at any additional considerations that the project team wants us to consider when they delivered their project. For individual awards, we have the 7 main awards, and it's the Wally Young Leader Award, the Joe Johnson Senior Private Sector Award, the Terry Hardy Exemplary Service Award, the Merit Award, Pat McDowell Community Service, and of course, the Top Public Works Leader of the Year Award. When we look at the qualifications for those individuals, when it comes to the Wally Wells, we look at individuals' contribution to their agency or the organization which helps advance public works profession. We look at their demonstration to continuing education. For Joe Johnson Private Sector Award, we look at individuals who have demonstrated enhancement of public services provided to public agencies. And for a Terry Hardy Exemplary Service Award, we look at their minimum commitment to the organization, which is 25 years, and all their professional activities which have enhanced the public works profession. For the Merit Award, we look at individuals who provided at least a minimum 15 years membership with OPWA and significant service to the association by means of board membership, volunteer work, and committee work as well. For the Pat McDowell Distinguished Community Involvement Award, we look at members who are a leader in their community and they volunteer their volunteer their time to projects which promote the quality of life for members. And for the Top Public Works Leader of the Year Award, we look for employees who are involved in the administration of public works, and we recognize their career service accomplishments. So it's really important that they've been in the public works for a long time and they've delivered programs. For the National Public Works Week Award, we have that every year, and we give out 3 awards. Bruce Brunton, which is for municipalities with a population of greater than 150,000. Roger Brown is for populations with less than 150,000. And 2 years ago, we introduced the First Time Entry Award, and that's for municipalities who haven't submitted in the last 10 years or are first time submissions. What we wanted to also do is give a brief recap of the 2020 Project of the Year Award recipients. So in January, we had our annual general conference, which we recognized the award recipients. And in the disaster emergency construction repair, York Region got 2 awards for their Schomburg emergency filter rehabilitation project and emergency groundwater management on Rubin Street. In the environment category, we gave 2 awards, one to City of Guelph for their snow management facility and 2 to the Region Appeal for the Aloha Reservoir and the Hanlon feeder main. In the historic restoration and preservation, we gave an award to the City of Guelph for Goldie Mill Ruins preservation. And in the structures, we gave an award again to the City of Guelph for their Arthur Street trunk sanitary sewer and road reconstruction, and also the City of Toronto for their canoe landing development. In the transportation category, we gave 4 awards. Town of Lincoln, the 13th Street reconstruction and slope stabilization. City of Hamilton for their Locke Street reconstruction, the Region of Peel for their Alton Village streetscaping, and the Region of York for Norman Bethune Avenue and Aristotle Avenue construction. And of course, in our small municipalities and First Nations communities, we gave the award to the town of Etrolia for their Brights Grove water treatment plant and high lift pump station. Our other categories, we have the technical innovation and management innovation. And in 2020, we gave the award to the City of Toronto for the Dufferin Renewable Gas Project. And for management innovation, it was awarded to the Region of York for the drinking water compliance data validation and public visualization project. So we just like to let everyone know about the submission requirements. Every year, November 1st, we accept submissions and we ask for no more than 20 pages detailing the completion date of the contract. We want to make sure that the project is substantially complete within 2 years of submission. We're looking for information on construction schedule and the management practices, safety performance, environmental considerations, community relations, and additional considerations you'd like the awards committee to consider. On top of that, every year we ask people if they'd like to submit to the APWA awards program, which is due March 1st of every year. And that's the information I had, Enrico.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Adam. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you have done. I know you've been leading the awards committee for quite some time. I think, you know, to our audience, it's an opportunity where the work that you're doing in public works in your communities can be highlighted and given recognition. Some of these projects are amazing projects in terms of the challenge, but certainly the innovation and the execution that happens at the public works level. So it's an opportunity to give recognition to those type of projects and your organizations. So go to our website if you need more information or contact Adam directly, and please take the opportunity to participate in these programs coming up later this year. Thanks a lot, Adam. Okay, at this point, it's now time to bring in our keynote speaker for the closing session. And it's my distinct pleasure to welcome Laura McDowell. Laura is, it's a great segue. She was the 2020 Ontario Public Works Leader of the Year, and she's a seasoned, dynamic professional engineer with a career spanning nearly 3 decades. Laura is currently the Director of Environmental Promotion and Protection at the Regional Municipality of York, providing leadership to natural heritage and forestry, water, waste, and communication teams in environmental services. She is known as a trusted partner in public service and believes we are stronger together. Now, unfortunately, it came to be that Laura could not join us live in person today, but she did send in a video so that she could share her thoughts with us. So we want to thank Laura for doing that, and have a listen.
When I was nominated for the OPWA Leader Award, I was so appreciative of the honor, truly. Once I pinched myself, it gave me a chance to reflect on my career holistically and ask myself how I got here and what I've learned along the way. One of the key things I'd like to share with you today is the importance of partnerships and collaboration. This has not only been important to the success of the work that we do, but it has also been instrumental in my leadership development. Today, I would much rather be with you in person. I am grateful for the virtual world we are living in to share some of my experiences. I hope you enjoy it. I started my career as a consultant in the early 90s. Wow, that makes me feel really old. working on site assessments, water audits, landfill gas monitoring, and sewage pumping station design. I've often thought how having both consulting and municipal experience has given me both perspectives, which has proven to be quite helpful over the years. When I first joined the region as a project manager in 1998, it was a bit of an adjustment. My role had shifted from detailed design work to project managing, consulting, and construction for water and wastewater projects. As I took on more complex projects, I became senior project manager and spent a few years overseeing the construction of projects like the new Georgina water treatment plant membrane facility and expansion of the Sutton sewage treatment plant. In 2005, I was fortunate to become the manager of engineering for the York-Durham sewage system, a series of pumping stations, force mains, and over 120 kilometers of sewer pipe that services the majority of wastewater generated in York Region and is treated at the Duffin Creek Water Pollution Control Plant, a facility that's co-owned by both York and Durham regions. It was during that time when I started to realize the important role that municipalities have in communicating and engaging with the public and interested stakeholders on infrastructure projects. I also experienced large crowds of concerned community members at public meetings and learned to hear and respond to their concerns. Stay tuned for more on this a little later in the presentation. I really enjoyed my role as manager of engineering. However, a unique opportunity presented itself when my then consultant lead on a critical project joined the region as my new commissioner. You know that old saying, you never know who you might end up working for? Well, in this case, good thing my commissioner, Erin Mahoney, and I already had a really great working relationship because she became my new boss. And to this day, I'm so grateful to work for Erin. She's taught me so much over the last 13 years. She is truly a dedicated professional and thoughtful leader. So back in 2008, I became Director of Environmental Promotion and Protection. The mandate for this role has evolved over the years. I was responsible for regulatory compliance and policy, in addition to waste operations and policy, communications, and source water protection. And in 2010, the natural heritage and forestry business came to my team, and we've never looked back. So that was a pretty quick summary of almost 30-year career, but so much has changed along the way. In those early days, I was really worried about I had no experience in some of these disciplines, but what I soon realized was when you have dedicated, experienced professionals and strong, competent teams, you don't need to be the expert. You lead those teams, help remove obstacles, support, and connect them. This is where the transition from subject matter expert to leading people becomes so critically important. I've always said, surround yourself with dedicated, competent people who know the business actually better than you do. Give credit where credit is due and empower staff to make decisions. Learn from your mistakes and share those learnings with others. We sometimes refer to this as failing forward and being vulnerable. You'd be amazed when you do this. Others often share and can relate. I think the other key thing is love what you do and have some fun along the way. It's funny when I think back to those early days in public meetings, we would show up with our poster boards, donuts, and coffee and pray no one showed up. How times have changed. We've learned so much since then. We recognize the value of public engagement and having those meaningful conversations and being challenged. Bringing others to the table, getting different perspectives, and gaining insights that perhaps you hadn't considered is so important. This extends beyond public engagement. I'm now talking about collaboration and partnerships. As public sector employees, we collaborate within our own teams, across our organizations, with consultants, industry, our communities, and community partners. When you collaborate, it creates the opportunity to listen, share ideas, create buy-in, and achieve better outcomes. This can mean leveraging community partners or other organizations to lead initiatives, as municipalities don't need to do everything, and in some cases we shouldn't. I want to share with you some of the examples of partnerships and collaborations that I am really most proud of. One partnership that really stands out to me came across out of opposition to an infrastructure project we were planning, the 19th Avenue Interceptor Sewer, a critical project that was part of the York-Durham sewage system. I thought when I took on this project we were ready to go to tender. However, a bump-up request was filed on all unfinished YDSS projects, and although it was denied, a number of conditions were imposed by the minister, including a number of comparison and comprehensive reviews of 10 options, including routes and construction methods. So basically, I was starting over. The project would be subject to an independent peer review by a team of experts across Canada and public consultation, including a number of charrettes, a website, and a stakeholder advisory committee and information forums. Oh, and did I mention, we were also the first infrastructure project to test the crossing of the Oak Ridges Moraine and had to prove no reasonable alternative. We didn't even know what that meant at the time. This is when I met Deb Crandall, who at the time represented Storm, Save the Oak Ridges Moraine. From the moment I met Deb, I knew I liked her. I could see her passion and dedication for the environment. Ultimately, we were able to find common ground, even though this project was environmentally charged. We were successful and complied with the Section 41 of the Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan, and we used earth pressure balance tunneling technology given the artesian conditions along the route. It was evident through this project that by welcoming important stakeholders to the table and taking the time to listen to their perspectives and concerns, you can actually create better outcomes and buy-in. Our work on this project led to a unique partnership between the region, Storm, and the University of Waterloo. We received a grant from the Canadian Environmental Assessment Agency, CEA, to explore strategic environmental assessments in decision-making related to infrastructure master plans and project-level EAs. We've managed to keep in touch over the years, and I really do look forward to reconnecting with Deb, Graham, and Dan once we get through this COVID thing. I also wanted to talk to you about the creation of the Municipal 3Rs Collaborative. Back in 2016, the Ontario government passed new legislation to transition diversion programs from the municipal tax base to producer responsibility. In response to the new legislation, municipal representatives decided to form advocacy working groups to promote and protect municipal interests pertaining to producer responsibility framework, and to help municipalities make informed decisions on transitioning the Blue Box program. The Municipal Collaborative includes representatives from AMO, RIPCO, MWA, and the City of Toronto. Its role is to listen carefully to the Ontario municipal sector, feed this information into the process, promote municipal interests, and provide updates and resources that will help Ontario municipalities manage contracts and make the best possible decisions for their own local programs and communities. We are still awaiting the province to release the Blue Box regulations at this time, and I'm confident, though, that the municipal sector has influenced the province more effectively by having one municipal voice, and this is where I strongly believe we really are stronger together. By adopting whole systems thinking, particularly across municipalities, we can accomplish our goals more effectively. I also think it's important to talk about our local municipal partnership. As a two-tiered municipality, York Region works closely with our local municipal partners in shared service delivery of water, wastewater, waste management, and forestry. Both the region and our municipalities have jurisdictional responsibilities and have built a strong relationship over the years to function as an integrated system. We both have our own considerations that impact our perspectives and approach to problem solving, but have recognized how important it is to balance those while determining what is the best path is together. This ensures seamless service delivery to our residents and communities. As we work together to plan the transitioning of the Blue Box system, we had to identify a preferred date for transition, either 2023, 2024, or 2025. It took a lot of collaboration, but we worked together to understand potential implications of various transition timing options. We developed a strategic waste policy committee comprised of regional and local municipal waste staff with the mandate to support collaborative decision-making. We discussed operational and contractual considerations on collections, transfer, and processing stages of the system. We have 4 local municipal collection contracts plus 3 regional transfer and processing contracts that will all be impacted by transition. A smaller working group was established to examine the factors that would lead to a consensus on a timing recommendation. Ultimately, the region and all 9 municipalities passed resolutions to transition together in 2025, and the province included our preferred timing in the draft regs. Collaboration with our local municipal staff was so crucial to determine an acceptable transition date. Our needs were different at the onset, but after laying out all the facts and listening to one another, concessions were made by all parties to make the best recommendation for the integrated waste management system. Finally, I want to talk about community partnerships. Often as public sector employees, we think it is our duty to do everything, but like many organizations, resources can really be a challenge. For example, due to COVID, staff were redeployed to our public health area, and there were long periods of time where there was a hiring freeze, creating resourcing challenges. It reminded me how important our staff and existing resources are, including our community partners. Even more important is to recognize that sometimes it's okay to leverage their expertise to achieve our shared objectives. In fact, sometimes they are better positioned to do so from the start. Community partners provide expertise, infrastructure, and access to new audiences. For example, in an effort to reduce waste, we partnered with local libraries to create the Lendery. The Lendery encourages the sharing of useful items that residents only occasionally use, like tools or small appliances and sports equipment. Public libraries are the original sharing economy and were a natural fit. They already had the location, knowledge, and infrastructure to run the program. We provided the ideas, support, and set up funds to get them started. They were excited to provide a new service to their patrons, and we were able to provide waste reduction opportunities to the community. We also noticed that since the pandemic began, many people turned to cycling as a way to get exercise and get outside. We partnered with Markham Cycles to engage people in repair activities and to spark interest in reducing waste. The partnership enabled Markham Cycles to expand their program even during difficult times. And finally, we piloted senior-specific programs to encourage them to become more active outdoors and access the trails in the York Regional Forest. This program allowed seniors to access a presentation and then they were taken on a guided walk in the forest by our partners from the Oak Ridges Marine Land Trust. This partnership brought an expertise and enhanced capacity to deliver this program, with more than 80% of seniors who attended saying that they would like to visit accessible trails again, either in person or virtually. These are just a few examples of the amazing work by our community partners in providing innovative programming to our communities. I hope these examples of collaboration and partnerships from my career have helped you understand their importance. Some of the key takeaways: be willing to listen, compromise, and be open to different perspectives to find common ground. Be curious. When you have a curious mindset, you're more open to learning and refrain from judgment. Lead with empathy and support your staff and colleagues. COVID has been a stark reminder how vulnerable we are. Reach out if you need help, or reach out to others when you think they may be struggling. What's helped me through leading through these challenging times is finding ways to remain optimistic. Inspire staff to take on a more positive mindset and support personal resilience and mental well-being. Leverage the strengths of your teams, resources, and partnerships. Individually, we may bring expertise and skills, but together we are stronger. I have been so fortunate to work for and work with such great people. I've been heartened by the dedication and commitment of my team and the broad municipal sector during this pandemic. The commitment to respond to this emergency while continuing to provide service delivery to our communities, I've never been so proud. Please take care of yourselves and remember, we're all in this together, whether it's through partnerships and collaboration or through teamwork. I think a quote from Ryanoseki Satoru sums it up best. Individually, we are one drop. Together, we're an ocean. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to give a big thank you to Laura for sharing her story in Public Works. I really like that image there in the last clip of the hands together, in terms of partnership. She gave some great examples of collaboration in her storied career of Public Works in terms of working with her peers, with her stakeholders on the projects, the public works projects within the region, and of course, working with her municipal partners. So, so much can be established through partnerships and collaboration, certainly working together, stronger together. So thank you very much, Laura, for sharing your story with us today. So with that, and keeping along the theme of some awards, I would now like to ask James to join us. And James is the chair of the Ontario Public Works Association's Technology Showcase program that took place over the last week. And he's got some news to share with us. So take it away, James.
Thank you, Enrico. Yes, indeed, it is time to announce some winners. So first, thank you to all of you who voted for the Technology Showcase Project of the Year winner. So for those of you who voted, so first of all, I'd like to say, Jason Davidson of MPipe, you are indeed the winner of the Tim Hortons gift card. Congratulations. If you're online, I will be in touch to get you your card so that you can get yourself some coffee. Now, we had some really great presentations during our Technology Showcase this year. And if you missed any and you'd like to see them, they, as Enrico mentioned, they were recorded and they are all available on the OPWA website. And now, I'm pleased to announce that the winner of the 2021 OPWA Technology Showcase Project of the Year is, I don't have a drum roll, sorry, the City of Hamilton for their Pipeline Assessment Certification Program Assessment and Decision Support tool. So congratulations to the City of Hamilton. This project demonstrated the development of a logic process application that mimics the manual decision-making process to assist in the categorization, prioritization for pipe replacement, rehabilitation, and maintenance. This logic tree was developed within the city's Hansen database and is easily mapped within the GIS, and therefore reduces the amount of staff hours and staff time required to manage the CCTV program. So again, congratulations, and I will be in touch shortly to discuss your award. Thank you very much. Now back to you, Enrico.
Well, thanks very much, James. And once again, thank you for contributing to National Public Works Week. It was a great competition. There were some great entries. So congratulations to all people that were nominated and made their submissions. Okay, so over the past week, we've had many opportunities that National Public Works Week has given us to meet old and new friends, give us an opportunity to recognize some of our own public works leaders from the past at OPWA, and allowed us to learn from other public works leaders on what they're doing in some of their own jurisdictions. So we had some great participation over the past week. We've certainly had some great discussion and conversations that have been insightful and purposeful. And these two panel sessions that we had over the past week were great examples of that. There was also opportunities to gain more knowledge and insight into what's new and up and coming in public works. So some great presentations by a host of presenters, everyone contributing to great content for the week. And of course, we saw examples like this where we're not the only ones who celebrate National Public Works Week and/or see the merit of public education. So good for you in giving your example of what you're doing within your own communities. So at this time, the committee took a real challenge to redefine what National Public Works Week was. Certainly the pandemic didn't leave us much other opportunity for this or choice. So we planned a week-long event, and we look for opportunities, as I've said before, to celebrate, to educate, and to recognize. And at the end of this week here, and it's been a lot of work to get here, but I think we accomplished our goal. And we certainly will look towards getting your feedback in coming days, just to make sure we did achieve the goal that we had intended. Now, as mentioned and has been said, all these sessions have been recorded. So they are already posted on the OPWA website. And we hope that, if something was very appealing to you, you needed to get a second ear on what was said, or you just wanted a little more information, those sessions will be available to you to have a listen again. At this time, I would like to bring forward the chair for National Public Works Week, and that was Doug Keeney of RJ Burnside. Doug's been a key person in making sure that this week has been successful. So welcome, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Enrico. I just wanted to say it's certainly been my privilege and pleasure to be part of this week's events. And I think one of the common themes that we're continually hearing here today from Enrico, and certainly in Laura's presentation, just the strength of teamwork and collaboration and so on. And certainly putting on an event like this week with 12 different kind of events within an event certainly involved a lot of people. And, in some ways I feel like, I had a bit of the easier role. It was really the heavy lifting of a lot of the parties you see here and their involvement that contributed to a successful week. And I just wanted to take a minute to touch on each of the boxes here in terms of acknowledging the involvement and support of various organizations and committees and what have you. In the top left, as Enrico showed a couple of minutes ago, certainly we had good involvement and support from APWA and CPWA this week, both at our opening session and with yesterday's CPWA interesting webinar. In the middle box in the top there are strategic partners, OGRA, MEA, and AORS, all supported. And in particular, I'd like to give a shout out to OGRA's Executive Director, Scott Butler, as well as OGRA's Manager of Communications and Marketing, Rachel Sweetnicki. They were both heavily involved in the planning and organizing for this week's events, and they very actively participated and so on, and were greatly appreciative of that. In the top right, the industry organizations of OPA or OPA and OWWA, SWANA, and WEO. As some of you may know, and hopefully you were able to attend some of the events this week, at our opening session, we had a very interesting panel involving those four organizations, as well as OGRA, which was chaired and led by our OPWA's president-elect, Don Kudo, and it really gave a good cross-section of the public works industry. And for those of you that attended, I think would agree. So thank you for that. In the bottom left, certainly our annual sponsors, it kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to say it, everything we do, we certainly rely on the support of our annual sponsors. And we couldn't put on events like this without their support. So again, very much appreciated. In the middle box in the bottom, as Enrico's touched on earlier here, our two branches, Ottawa Valley and West Central, obviously are very important to the chapter and play a key role. And in particular, I wanted to give a shout out to both Megan McSween and Arup Mukherjee from the Ottawa Valley branch, as well as their committee and colleagues that put on 3 great technical sessions with a variety of presentations, as was touched on earlier. And these were very well-attended events, and there was pretty much something for everyone, and very much appreciate the heavy and big involvement from the Ottawa Valley branch. And last but not least, many of you as OPWA members and committee members, as well as attendees of our events, that's why we're here, is to basically give back and to serve the public works industry and offer education and share information and fellowship. And as part of this week, National Public Works Week, several of the OPWA committees were involved. First, I'd mention the YP committee, and for those of you that attended, we had a very interesting panel that was put on by our YP committee, and I'd like to give a shout out to Faria Manen, who's our chair of our YP committee, and she led the way in organizing that very interesting panel. And it was a great event to be part of National Public Works Week. We also had great support from our communications committee. Again, Faria is part of that, as well as others on our communication committee that helped get the message out there on social media and otherwise. Our membership committee and our awards committees were also involved. We heard from Adam earlier. And again, I think it really overall, the contributions and the involvement and the participation from everyone here just highlights, again, it reinforces the theme of National Public Works Week, which is stronger together. But at the same time, I think that theme applies in pretty much every walk of life. And I think we've been reminded of it certainly over the last 14 months. So next slide, please, Enrico. Following the lead of, it was actually the Ottawa Valley branch, as some of you would recall earlier in the week during their events, they, on behalf of their speakers and presenters, they've made a donation to the local food bank in the Ottawa area. And following that lead, the chapter has decided to, on behalf of all of the panelists and speakers and presenters and so on this week, we are making a donation to Habitat for Humanity. And we have supported Habitat for Humanity in the past with actual in-person build events, which I've personally attended some of them myself, as some of you probably have, and we're happy to do that. Next slide, Enrico, please. Lastly, just wanted to, I've mentioned some of them in terms of I guess the main committee here for National Public Works Week, and just want to thank everyone here, as well as all of the others that I've noted along the way here that did a tremendous amount of work to bring these events this week to fruition. And we hope that everybody has been able to take in some of it and gain benefit and value from it. And yeah, I guess with that, I guess just lastly, I just wanted to just acknowledge our executive director of OPWA, Brian Barber, whose name's on there. And Brian has worked, I'll say, tirelessly in the background, although I think he's pretty tired now, doing pretty much everything from A to Z to run the sessions in the background and what have you. And just wanted to acknowledge Brian's great efforts. And as well, as I pass it back to you, Enrico, it was your vision of this week and doing something different and trying to help promote public works through a variety of events from different parts of the province and so on. And you've done a tremendous amount of work, as well as everyone else on this page and beyond have, and just wanted to acknowledge that. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Enrico. Thank you.
I very much appreciate it, Doug, and certainly kudos to you again for your leadership through this and doing a great job for this week. I think it's been a great success, and thank you for sharing some of those finer points of recognition of some of those key individuals that have helped to make this week a very successful week for National Public Works Week. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that pretty much comes to the closing of our National Public Works Week for 2021. And as you can see, we had so much fun over the past week that we can't wait for a National Public Works Week 2022. We will certainly give ourselves a little bit of rest here. I know Brian is probably going to go in hiding for a little bit and won't want to hear from me for a while. But we will come back to get the information out to our membership in the months to come in terms of what we plan for National Public Works Week 2022. I just have a few slides to kind of end off here, so I hope that you can stay with me for the last few minutes. I certainly would be remiss not to try and give you a little bit more appreciation for who we are as an organization. Ontario Public Works Association is all about connecting public works. I wanted to highlight, 3 areas where maybe there is some interest for you if you're not a member to get involved. And if you are a member, then maybe you'd like to take on some additional role within the Ontario Public Works Association. So certainly, as a chapter, we give many opportunities when we connect public works together for education and, of course, your networking opportunities, support between peers in public works. Obviously, there's an element of friendship and laughter that we share amongst ourselves, opportunities for yourselves going forward in public works, and lending all of that towards your success in public works. We do have many committees that you can be a volunteer with, and you can see the big list in front of you in the middle area of the screen. Lots of committees that are putting out some great events and doing some great work, and we could always use some extra assistance within those committees. So please give that your consideration. And of course, we are always working hard in our day-to-day jobs with public works. Certainly the last few months of this pandemic has put other strains on us. So there is always an opportunity in Ontario Public Works Association to have a little bit of a social time where we can get out and meet each other. Now, of course, our pandemic situation creates a different situation at this point. But we're looking towards these events here to be happening in the coming months ahead, just in terms of how the province is moving forward with vaccination. And as you heard yesterday, rolling out its slow opening program to bring business back into Ontario. So looking forward, so stay tuned, and we'll be sure to share some of these events with our membership in the coming months. Now, I did a little bit of a social experiment up at the front end, and I was asking people that were in the waiting room to help us paint a picture with words. So I just want to flip over to that, and maybe we can take a look to see what developed out of that. And maybe my social experiment failed somewhat, but we can see some of the words provided by our audience in terms of what they feel public works is all about. So we see there define public works as being safety, essential, and professional. So thank you for those 2 contributors in helping to paint that picture. Okay. So with that, I certainly, again, want to give credit to our sponsors with Ontario Public Works Association. You can see the list of organizations on the screen that without you, events like this are not possible. So thank you very much for your generous sponsorship. We appreciate your interest and support of the Ontario Public Works Association. So just to finish things off, I'm going to have for you a couple videos, And each of these videos are 5 minutes long, so just to gauge your time. I know we're coming up just to the 1 o'clock hour, but hopefully you'll stick around. The first video was something we played during the opening session. And when we looked at Stronger Together and what we do at OPWA in terms of connecting public works, we want to bring greetings from all the different public works departments across Ontario. And of course, we couldn't capture everyone, but we do have a good selection of the different public works groups from corner to corner of the province. So that's the first video that we'll play here. It's the Greetings from Around Ontario road trip. And shortly after that, we'll play a second video, which is an APWA video. And it's going to speak, it's a nice, easy graphical video that talks about the structure and organization of APWA. And I think it would help to give some of our members insight to who we are as an organization. So I hope you enjoy these two videos to end off our National Public Works Week 2021. It's been a pleasure to participate with everyone involved in National Public Works Week. And it's been a pleasure to learn a little bit more about public works over the course of the week. So with that, I'll sign off. Enjoy the videos and enjoy the long weekend. We've got some great weather ahead of us. Stay well and stay safe. Bye for now.
Hi, I'm Franco Stimini from the Hamilton Water, wishing everyone a happy National Public Works Week.
My name is Janine Yarmage, Manager of Roads Design and Construction. My name is Mary Naveau, I'm Manager of Parks Design and Construction. On behalf of the City of Burlington, we'd like to wish you a happy National Public Works Week.
Hi, this is Eric Nickel, Director of Municipal Works for the City of Niagara Falls, Ontario. I'd like to say thank you to all our amazing Public Works employees here in Niagara Falls, and I'd like to wish all Public Works employees a happy Public Works Week.
Great, thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Kelly Scher. I'm the Deputy City Manager of Environment and Infrastructure for the City of London. I'm here at the City of London's Greenway Pollution Control Centre to wish my colleagues in the Forest City, across Canada and across Ontario, a happy National Public Works Week. What we do matters, and I'm proud to be part of it with all of you.
This is Windsor Public Works. Here's to public works across Ontario.
I'm Keely Dedman, Commissioner of Public Works with the Region of Peel. On behalf of the team, I'd like to wish all Public Works professionals a happy National Public Works Week.
Hello, this is Carrie Marshall, General Manager for the Infrastructure and Operations Department at the City of Thunder Bay. I would like to send a big thank you to all of our Public Works professionals who work behind the scenes to keep our city running. Happy National Public Works Week from Thunder Bay.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm Debbie, and on behalf of the Greater City of Sudbury, we'd like to wish you a happy National Public Works Week. Stay safe.
Hi, my name is Eric. I'm a water distribution operator with the City of Ottawa. I'm a proud member of the Public Works and Environmental Services team. One of our key roles is to deliver safe and reliable drinking water to our citizens. To ensure that, I'm here today to inspect a large main and the valves that go along with it. Everybody have a great week. We're out here rain or shine, so stay safe out there.
Good afternoon, folks. This is just a quick shout out from the South Grenville Public Works Garage, located in the county of Lees in Grenville. We're located here halfway between Kingston and Ottawa. On behalf of everybody, happy Public Works Week, and be safe out there, folks.
Happy Public Works Week from the Force Main Twinning Group in York Region.
Hello, my name is Mauro Fabro of Toronto Water.
This is William Fernandez from Toronto Water, and I want to take this opportunity to wish all my fellow colleagues from Public Works a very happy National Public Works Week. Cheers!
Hi, I'm Mayor Greg Davidson, wishing all the Public Works professionals here in the Township of Mapleton, in the County of Wellington, and right across Ontario, a great National Public Works Week. We are stronger together.
Hi, my name's John Chubby, Disposal Compliance Supervisor with the County of Wellington at the landfill up in Riverstown. On behalf of the operators here and me, have a great National Public Works Week.
Welcome to the American Public Works Association, your professional public works resource. APWA serves professionals in all aspects of public works, with over 30,000 members worldwide. Let's dive in and get to know how this association works. Within APWA, there are 18 board of directors that help things run smoothly. First, we have the Executive Committee, which is made up of the President, Past President, President-elect, and CEO. Then, we have 9 regional directors that cover 63 chapters. They provide connection and continuity for regional areas and serve as liaisons from one chapter to the next. Lastly, there are 5 technical directors that cover 10 different technical committees. These directors provide connection and continuity for technical committees who serve as primary producers of high-level educational content. Let's take a look at APWA's strategic plan. This serves as the foundation and focus of APWA's programs, products, services, and work efforts. To advance the quality of life for all, the APWA mission is to support those who operate, improve, and maintain public works and infrastructure through advocacy, education, and member engagement. There are 4 strategic goals that serve as the foundation for our efforts. Promote the value of public works and enhance the visibility and awareness. Be the voice of public works to government leaders, the public, and the media. Provide excellence in education and credentialing. And lastly, deliver an outstanding and valuable membership experience in collaboration with chapters. Let's look at how the puzzle pieces fit together to support the strategic plan. Board members, regardless of position, always represent the best interests of all members. They represent the policies and positions of the association, collaborate with other directors to support association activities, serve as means of direct and accurate communication with members, and serve in various leadership, committee, and liaison assignments. The Executive Committee also provides oversight for all areas of board responsibility, monitor operational activities at a high level, track progress on board activities and policies, and facilitate the annual evaluation of the CEO. The CEO and staff provide support for chapters, committee, boards, and members, and they develop operational goals in support of the strategic plan. Chapters play a critical role in providing value to members. They provide the most personal points of connection, networking, and relationship building. Face-to-face or virtual meetings, social events, and building relationships with colleagues tend to happen here. There's also a wide array of professional development, education, and operation-oriented training. Technical committees provide a lot of the content for our APWA members. Subject matter experts develop professional and educational content for the Reporter, PWX and SNOW conferences, our Click, Listen, and Learns, webinars, certificates, and certifications. Some chapters also have technical committees or liaisons with the technical committees. There is a lot of interplay between the products and services developed from the technical committees and chapter-level content delivery, which provides the best level of services for members. Our committees and councils are a few examples of more collaborative efforts in support of the association and the strategic plan. The Government Affairs Committee and the CPWA create legislative priority statements for U.S. and Canadian governments, focusing on making APWA the voice of public works in North America. Representatives from each chapter come together in the Council of Chapters to collaborate on specific work items through task force or focus groups to support the chapter and provide insight to the Board of Directors. To name a few of our other committees are the Accreditation Council, Certification Council, Center for Sustainability, Diversity and Inclusion, International Affairs, Professional Development Committee, Small Cities, Rural Communities, Program Review for Conferences, Award Review Committees, and the Young Professionals Committee. All committees and councils establish a work plan based on the committee charter, stay current on the state of the industry, best practices, and cooperative opportunities. Our Chief Executive Officer and APWA Board of Directors ensure the association remains focused on our more core missions and objectives in support of all APWA members. Remember, there are approximately 50 staff members in 9 departments dedicated to supporting you and your efforts, headquartered in Kansas City with a Government and Public Affairs office in Washington, D.C. Together, we create one mission, one vision, one community, one APWA.